Welcome back. Today we're talking about how to go from the standard form of a quadratic equation into vertex form by doing something called completing the square. Let's start with the standard form of a quadratic equation. Standard form will look something like this. You can have plus or minus here. In our case, let's have plus 12x plus 32. The a value, which is the number in front of the x squared, is an invisible 1. Your b value is 12, and your c value is 32. Now, we don't have this situation in our question, but let's say we did have a 2 in front of the x squared, so this would be the a value. This needs to be factored out before you can start completing the square, but only factored out of the first two terms. When you factor the first two terms, you're not supposed to factor the x, only the coefficients. So if there's a 2 here, I would take it out of the first term to make sure that there's nothing in front of the x squared, and I would take it out of the 12, so this would become 6x. So my equation would end up being this, and then I would continue the question. In our case, we don't have that, so you don't have to worry about factoring before you start completing the square. But just note that is very important, or you will get the incorrect answer if you try to start without factoring. So in our case, we don't have anything in front of the x squared, it's just a 1. So what we do is put brackets around the first two terms. They're going to be on their own. You're going to take your b value, divide it by 2, and square it. So your equation will now become x squared plus 12x, and we're going to leave a plus blank space minus blank space plus 32. In this plus and minus, imagine if I had plus 5 minus 5. Well, that would just cancel out to 0. Right? So it's not like you're really changing anything in the equation, but you are manipulating it in order to complete the square. Although overall, the numbers that you're adding and subtracting would really just cancel out to 0 anyways, so it's not like we're adding any new numbers. This value is what's going to go here. So when we do 12 divided by 2, we get 6, and 6 squared is 36. So we have plus 36 minus 36, and then you take this number and kick it out of the brackets. Now, just a note, if there was a number factored out here from the beginning, like we had a 2 in the previous example, you would have to make sure that whatever number you kick out of the brackets, like let's say I take this out of the brackets as a negative 36, it would have to be multiplied by whatever was out front here before it gets added to that plus 32. So just make note of that. That's the only thing that's going to change in the equation if you do have a number factored out here. Otherwise, the steps are the same. And now inside the brackets, we have x squared plus 12x plus 36. Outside of the brackets, we have plus 32 and the minus 36. This changes to negative 4 when you subtract it. Now your next step is to look at the sign before your b value. We have a plus sign. So what you're going to do is x plus blank. If this was a minus sign, you would write x minus blank. This is your template. So I will show you what to put here. You can put x plus blank squared, and then this minus 4 is at the end. We're almost done. We just have to figure out what that squared term is going to be. So what we're actually doing is rewriting this as a plus b squared. It is a trinomial, it's a simple trinomial, and there's an easy way to condense it into a plus b squared. If we expanded this, we would get the same equation back. That a plus b squared is going to be our a plus question mark squared. The way we actually get this answer, and there's a quick method to do this, is to take the square root of the first and last terms. The first term is always going to give you x because x squared square rooted cancels these out to give you x, but the last term will always be the square root of the last term here, which is 6. So your final equation should be y equals x plus 6 squared minus 4. If you had any number factored out earlier, like the 2, that would come here, but we don't, so this is our final vertex form. Now, in order to get the vertex from here, all you do is change the sign of the number in the middle. So you would have -6 as your x value. So remember, coordinates are always x comma y. If you want to find the coordinate of the vertex, you would have this as the x value, comma -4, which is the number at the end, as the y value. You only flip the sign here. You don't have to do that at the end. So this would be your vertex. And that would be the final answer. Thank you for watching.